Hey, we are starting a new series tonight. It is called Life is a Journey. So, over the course of this month, I will be sharing with you guys some of the journeys that I have been on in the course of my life. And tonight, I want to share you a journey that our family went on back in 2019. But I need to back up just a little bit. I've always enjoyed holidays. How many of you are like, holidays roll around, you're excited? It doesn't matter what holiday it is. There's just something about holidays. So I've always enjoyed holidays, right? And there's this time where you get into the fall where you're like, dude, it is holiday season, right? You got like Halloween and then Thanksgiving and then Christmas, and it's just, they're all jam-packed right in there. And if you have a birthday in there like I do, you've got your birthday in there as well. So it's just a jam-packed fall. Two of my kids have birthdays in the fall. So in the course of the fall, I was thinking, there's a lot of holidays going on. And I thought, I wonder if there is a holiday every single day of the year. And then I thought, how cool would it be to celebrate a holiday every single day of the year, right? And so I brought it up to my wife, and I think she thought I was just joking at first, because I brought it up in like October, and she's like, oh yeah, that'd be cool. And then nothing was said of it. So I started doing some research, and I found this little website right here called National Day Calendar, and it lists out every national day for every single day of the year. And so it got to be like near the end of December, and I was like, Kirsten, listen, if we're going to do this, we have to do it before our kids get too old and they're like, dude, this is totally lame. Why are we doing this, right? And so I think we should do it this year. And she's like, well, how do you even know? And I said, well, good news. I already did the research. Like, I have the website right here. It lists all the national days. We're good to go. And so she reluctantly agreed. And we started off this journey of celebrating a holiday every single day. We were super excited. Matter of fact, I brought with me, I know I'm stepping out of the lights here for just a minute. I brought with me this book. We decided to blog every single day, the holidays that we celebrated. And so then we got this book printed out of our blog. Like, for example, let's see, April 5th, National Deep Dish Pizza Day, Read a Roadmap Day, and National Flash Drive Day. We celebrated all those on that day. What? Oh, May 13th, National Crouton Day and Frog Jumping Day. That was a fun day. So we had these days, and we were super excited about celebrating all of these national days. We started off celebrating New Year's Day, and then January 2nd, I was very excited to celebrate because it was National Science Fiction Day, so we got to introduce our kids to the movie E.T., which was just awesome, and they watched it like a whole bunch of times in a row. Then January 3rd, and I'll stop at January 3rd, but January 3rd was National Fruitcake Toss Day. I don't know if you've ever tried fruitcake. It was my first time to try fruitcake before we went out into the yard and just like chucked it as far as we could. That was kind of fun, right? So we set out on this journey. We were super excited, spit everywhere, super excited about this journey of celebrating a holiday every single day of the year. And life is a journey. And oftentimes in life, we set out super excited for what the future holds. And we see all these possibilities in front of us, especially when you're in middle school and high school. Your future is before you, and you look out and you see all these possibilities and all these things that are ahead of you. And you're just running toward the rest of your life with this excitement. In the Bible, Jesus had called his 12 disciples. He had been preaching for a while. They had been following him for a while. I'm not quite sure how long, but for a while. They'd heard him teach. They'd seen him do miracles, and they'd experienced this excitement that Jesus was who he said he was. He was doing fantastic things. And he had a pretty good following even outside of the 12 disciples at this point. And he had just finished feeding 5,000 men, not including women and children. He fed 5,000 men with 5 loaves and 2 fish, and the people are pumped. They are excited for what the future holds. It says, when the people saw the sign that he had done, they said, "This is indeed the prophet who is to come into the world." Now, let me stop there, because that is a powerful, powerful statement. For years, the Jews, the people of Israel, have been under Roman control, but they've been told by their grandparents, their great-grandparents, their great-great-grandparents, it's been passed down from generation to generation to generation. Listen, there is a man that is going to come. He is going to be the king. He is going to set everything right. And when he comes, everything is going to be okay. Everything is going to be okay when he comes. So when they see this sign, they're like, "Oh man, this is him. Everything is good. Or everything's going to be set right. He is going to overthrow Rome. He is going to be the king. Dude, the future looks amazing. We are just pumped about where this is headed." And so this crowd starts to murmur. And they're thinking, well, we're just going to take him and declare him king right now. And Jesus understands what's going on, and it says, perceiving then that they were about to come and take him by force to make him king, Jesus withdrew again to the mountain by himself. Have you ever had one of those moments where you are just pumped about the future? Where you are getting ready to set out onto a journey and you are just excited for what this journey will hold? I don't know if for you it's getting ready to go on a trail on a state park, or you've got an exciting vacation that's coming up, or for you it's getting ready to start a project that you're just absolutely pumped about. I don't know if it's for you, it's a new relationship or a new friendship or whatever it may be, but you've got this journey and you're ready to set out and you are so very excited about it. I know when we did the holiday days, there were a few days that were just super exciting for us. I think I've got some pictures. We did Cut Your Energy Cost Day, where we put tape over all of our lights and we unplugged everything in our house. We shut everything down. Our kids had to do their schoolwork by flashlight, and we ate dinner by candlelight. And so that was just a blast. Brinkley still talks about that day. He's like, "Hey, when can we do that again?" We celebrated Super Mario Day, which is March 10th, M-A-R-1-O. Kind of looks like you're spelling Mario. And so we had a blast just playing Mario games and drawing Mario that day. It was a blast. But I think my favorite was National Water Balloon Day. What I did was I filled a whole bunch of water balloons, and I called Kirsten and I said, "Hey, make sure the kids are playing outside." And she's like, "Okay, I got this." And so she's like, "Hey guys, let's go play outside." And so I come rolling down the road, and they're all playing outside, of course, which is a normal thing. And when the weather's nice, they're normally playing outside when I get home. And so I pop open the trunk of my van, and I just start pelting them with water balloons. It was epic. It was absolutely fantastic. And we have moments in our journeys where things are just exciting, where we just can't wait for what the future holds. But like any journey, life and any journey you go on is going to have ups and downs. It's going to take some twists and some turns. There's going to be some things that you don't expect. There's going to be some things that are really difficult and hard. And the followers of Jesus faced this moment where things got difficult. Jesus comes down off the mountain after being alone, and maybe you've heard of the miracle where he walked on the water. He walks on the water across this sea, right? And he gets to the other side, and morning comes, and the people all wake up, and they're like, "Hey, Jesus isn't here." And they realize, oh, he's in the town on the other side of this sea. And so they walk around the sea to this other town, and they're like, "Jesus, where are you? Like, let's go. Let's run head first into the future, and let's do this thing," right? And Jesus says something that completely rocks their world. He says, listen, you come to me because you want bread. You want bread that you can fill your bellies with because I just fed you with bread that you can fill your bellies with. But what you really need is the bread of life. He's saying in a kind of, I don't know what word I'm looking for, parable or, I don't know, comparison, that you are wanting earthly things, but there's something greater. There's something beyond this earthly thing. And they're like, well, tell us how to get that bread. Tell us what we need to do to get it. And Jesus says, I am the bread of life. Whoever comes to me shall not hunger, and whoever believes in me shall never thirst. Now, again, we read this and we're like, yeah, Jesus is the bread of life. Like he came, he's the Son of God, he died on the cross, he rose from the grave. Of course, he's the bread of life. But to the people, him saying, I am the bread of life, he's saying, listen, I'm the Son of God. And they're like, whoa. Like king that's going to set everything right and overthrow Rome. Yes, absolutely. We buy into that. We're excited for that. Let's go do that. But you're saying you're the Son of God? Like we watched you grow up. We saw your parents. The poor carpenter's boy, that's what you are. I'm not sure you should be making claims that you are the Son of God. And Jesus goes on to explain a little bit more about what he means by that, and the people just get frustrated. And later on in John chapter 6, it says this. It says, after this, many of his disciples turned back and no longer walked with him. Now imagine you're one of the 12 apostles, disciples that Jesus called. You've watched Jesus amass this huge following. You are excited for what is headed into the future. You are excited for him to go and be king, and suddenly he says, I'm not interested in that. I'm not interested in an earthly kingdom. If that's what you're after, if that's what you're for, then goodbye. And the 12 that are with Jesus and Jesus himself watches people walk away. And their journey takes a turn. I don't know if you've ever experienced a time in life where an exciting journey that you're on takes a turn and gets a little bit more difficult. For us, this started out awesome. But we got into March, April, May, June, July, and it got harder and harder and harder. I mean, it's exciting looking back saying, yeah, we celebrated National Goof Off Day, right? But it turned into this thing where like every Saturday, we had to sit down, and we had to open up this calendar, and we had to be like, all right, Sunday, there's 5 holidays to pick from. What do you want to choose? How are we going to celebrate it? What supplies do we need to buy? What do we need to organize to make this happen on Sunday? All right, now let's go to Monday. There's 10 holidays to pick from. What ones do you want to celebrate? What do we need to buy? What do we need to plan? What do we need to organize? And we went through that day by day by day by day by day throughout the week. And then we would reach those days where you guys have had these days where you get home from school, you get home from work, and you're just exhausted. You're just tired. You don't want to do anything, right? You just want to go to your room and go to sleep. And inevitably, it was those days where it was like you have one option of a national holiday to celebrate. It's National Crazy Dessert Day that is super duper involved, and you gotta like take an hour and bake it. And we're like, oh my goodness, this was not a good idea, right? I don't know if you've ever experienced something like that. And here's the thing, celebrating national days, it was a blast. It was something that was good that we did. It was really hard. But on those really tough days, nobody would have thought twice if we had said on our blog, guys, we got 4 kids, we are exhausted, we're done. nobody would have thought twice about that. They would have been like, dude, I totally get that. You made it as far as you did. Well done. Good job. Excellent. But when things get difficult in life, a lot of times there's this tendency where we want to give up. When things get tough in life, when journeys take twists and turns that we don't expect, when hard times strike, there's a lot of times where we just want to give up. And the holiday a day, we could have given up on that and that would have been fine. But when you give up on life, it's a much bigger deal. When you give up on life and the things that truly matter, it's a much, much bigger deal. I love the way that Jesus responds to his disciples. You can sense the hurt that is inside of him. You can sense the fear almost of what's going to happen next, even though he knew. He turns to his disciples, and I can imagine him saying this with sadness in his eyes. Like, I imagine him watching people walk away, and he's yearning for them to just come back. Like, I'm trying to save you. I'm trying to be the king that you actually need. Please just come back. And he looks at his disciples, and in the next verse, he says this: do you want to go away as well? You picture the hurt. And he's asking his disciples, all right, I know this is hard. I know this journey we're on may not be what you expected. So are you in or are you out? Are you sticking with me or are you giving up on our journey? And Peter, he's always one of the first ones to speak up. I love how he responds. He answers, Lord, to whom shall we go? You have the words of eternal life. Now here's the difference. Here's the contrast between all those people that were following Jesus from town to town and walked away, and the 12 that were with Jesus day in and day out. The 12 that were with Jesus day in and day out, they belonged. They belonged to Jesus. And not that these others didn't belong to Jesus, but the 12 had a relationship with Jesus that was just something special. Here's the deal. This was really cool. But if I tried to do this by myself and I didn't have those people right back there in the back row celebrating with me, I would have given up on this a long time ago. But when we wake up in the morning and every morning our kids come out excited and say, what holiday are we celebrating today? And there's this sense of belonging, like we are in this together. We are going to celebrate this day together. It's going to be a great day. We continued through, because here's the deal. A journey where you have belonging is a journey worth making. It's a journey worth sticking out. And the truth is that on this journey called life, you belong. In this journey called life, you belong. You belong right here on Sunday nights in our group. And when you are not here, we miss you. You belong in your group of friends that God has blessed you with. You belong in your families. And the truth of the matter is that sometimes, even amongst our friends, even amongst our families, even amongst the people that we are closest to here and in our schools and amongst all of our relationships, we feel completely alone. And even when you feel completely alone, you belong. You belong because there is a God that came from heaven to earth and died on a cross and rose from the grave and said, I am the bread of life. I am the king. I've got something great for you, and I've got a plan for your life, and I'm asking you to just live it. And here's the deal. This journey called life has some hard times in it. It has some really difficult things. And some of you have experienced those difficult things and you've come through the other side. I've experienced some really, really difficult stuff in my life. I've battled some difficult things and I've come through on the other side. And on the other side of that journey where God stayed faithful, I look at all of my relationships, my relationship with my family, and I see that it's so much better than it ever could have been if I'd never gone through that journey. And some of you have experienced the other side of that journey. Some of you are in the midst of the difficult time right now. And I want to encourage you to hold on, to realize that you belong. And some of you don't feel that belonging. And I want to encourage you that there is a God that says you are His, and you are loved, and you have a purpose, and you belong. And if you don't feel that, please come talk to me. I would like to express to you that you belong here on Sunday nights. I would like to express to you that you belong as a part of this group that we call Worship Uncoiled. I would like to express to you that there is a God that loves you. And that whatever you're battling, whatever you're fighting, you are not doing it alone because you belong. And when you belong, you can make it through some pretty difficult stuff. And all of us are going to face difficult times in the future. We will. It is a part of this journey called life. And when those difficult times come, I want to encourage you to remember this truth, that you belong. That the belonging of Peter being able to say, you have the words of life. Where else am I going to go? That gave Peter the strength to continue on with Jesus. It gave him the strength to start the first church. It gave him the strength to spread the gospel so that it went all the way from the Middle East here to Brazil, Indiana, where we are right now. And your journey is doing the same thing. The differences that you are making right now, 100 years from now, are going to have a massive ripple effect that is going to change this world. And if you can buy into this truth and believe it deep down in your gut, that you belong, that you are loved, and that this journey called life is worth fighting for and continuing, the difference you make is going to be amazing. When we belong, we can do some pretty incredible things on a journey. We ended up finishing our Holiday a Day. It's a pretty thick book. A lot of good memories. And I honestly don't think that if we didn't have our kids there being excited and as a family belonging to this crazy journey, that I don't think we would have accomplished it. I remember the very last day being like, we did it. It's over. And we are never doing that again. And someday, we're going to take a final breath here. This journey is going to be over. And we're going to take a breath with Jesus face to face. And he's going to look at you and he's going to look at me and he is going to say, well done. You did it. And you're going to take a deep breath and you're going to say, I did it. Now I never want to do that again. I want to stay right here in the presence of Jesus. This journey that we call life is worth fighting for. It's worth continuing. you have belonging. You have a purpose. And so this week, the practical challenge is simply this. I want you to simply think about the areas where you truly belong. For some of you, that will be very easy. For others of you, that will be a little bit more difficult. If you're one of those ones where you're like, man, I don't have a spot where I belong, I want to encourage you this week to talk to a trusted adult. Come talk to me. Come talk to one of these other leaders. We would love to help get you connected. And then a second kind of challenge moving forward. You guys do an awesome job of this, and I want to see it just continue, that Worship Uncoiled on Sunday nights is a place where anyone can walk through those doors, and they find a place where they belong. They find a place that's different than the other social groups. They find a place that's different than school or the other clubs that they could be involved in, that here they find a belonging that is eternal, and that we are all a part of that. And so moving forward from here, let's continue to make Worship Uncoiled a place where people belong. And this week, start thinking about, where do you belong? Because I think a lot of us have a lot more belonging than we realize. And so I want to just bring that to our minds this week, that you do belong. Check this out.